Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to teach you about residential status. Now, tax is charged on the income of an assessee. Under the Income Tax Act of 1961, the total income of an individual is computed based on the residential status. Okay. For this purpose, assessees can be classified into the following categories. First as an individual, then as a Hindu undivided family, then firms, companies and any other person. Now let's look into how to determine the residential status of an individual. Now for the purpose of computing whether an individual is a resident or not, this is the structure which we will need to follow. Okay, so the first thing we need to classify is whether an individual is a resident or a non-resident. Now for an individual to be called as a resident, he should fulfill at least one basic condition. And for an individual to be called as a non-resident, he will fulfill none of the basic conditions. Okay, and then again, once an individual is classified as a resident, we need to determine whether the resident is whether the individual is a resident and ordinarily resident, or whether the individual is a resident but not ordinarily resident. Now again, to compute whether the individual is a resident and ordinarily resident, he or she should fulfill both the additional conditions. Whereas if they fulfill one or none of the additional conditions, then they'll be called as a resident and not ordinarily resident. So basically, to determine the residential status of an individual, we have certain basic conditions and additional conditions. Okay, so let's look into these basic and additional conditions. Now the first basic condition is under section 6 of Income Tax Act of 1961, the first basic condition is individual assessee must be in India for at least 182 days or more during the previous year. Okay, so now let's look into this condition and try to understand what it means. Now, for the purpose of computing residential status, we should always write down the previous year and 10 years above it. Okay, so for this, let's assume our assessment year is 1920. So in that case, the previous year will be 2018 and 2019. Now, as per this condition, the individual assessee must be in India for at least 182 days or more during the previous year, which means as per the first basic condition, this is our previous year 2018-19. In this year, the individual assessee must be in India for at least 182 days or more. Okay, now let's look into the second basic condition. As per the second basic condition, individual assessee must be in India for at least 60 days or more during the previous year and 365 days or more during 4 years preceding the previous year. So in the second basic condition, we have two parts. The first part states that in the previous year, the individual assessee must be for 60 days. So which means in this year 18-19, he should be in India for 60 days. And as per the second part of the second basic condition, he should be in India for 365 days or more during 4 years preceding the previous year. Preceding the previous year means leave the previous year 4 years above this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in these 4 years, the individual assessee must have stayed for at least 365 days. This is the second basic condition. Okay. So now let's move on to the additional conditions. Now, as per the additional condition, okay, the first additional condition states that the resident in India, okay, or any individual can be called as a resident in India if he stays for 2 years if he is a resident for 2 years out of 10 years preceding the previous year, which means this is our previous year 2018-19. So leave this year. 10 years above this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in these 10 years, if at least for 2 years he should be a resident, then the first additional condition is fulfilled. And again, the second additional condition states that he should stay in India for 730 days or more during 7 previous years immediately preceding the previous year. So preceding the previous year means our previous year is 18-19. So leave this year. 7 years above this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in these 7 years, the individual must stay for at least 730 days. So these are the various basic conditions and additional conditions. Now again, let's just go through what were the conditions. For a person to be called as a resident, he should fulfill one or none, both the basic conditions. Then the individual is called as a resident. And if the individual fulfills none of the basic conditions, then he is called as a non-resident. Again, for a person to be called as a resident and ordinary resident, he should fulfill both the additional conditions. And again, for an individual to be called as a resident but not ordinary resident, he should fulfill one or none of the additional conditions. Okay. So these are the general conditions to determine the residential status of an individual. For better understanding of the residential status of an individual, let's look into the working of one of the illustrations. Mr. Karthik is a citizen of London and comes to India on 23/2018 for the first time. And on 1/9/2018, he left India and went to Malaysia on a business trip. Again, he comes back to India on 26/2/2019. Determine his residential status for the assessment year 2019-20. Now, for the purpose of determining the residential status of an individual, this is the format which we need to use. Okay. First, we need to compute the number of days the individual has stayed in India for the various previous years. Okay. So, since our assessment year is 2019-20, so the previous year will be 18-19. So, 2018-19, this is our previous year. This is the previous year. Okay. Now, after you do that, the next thing you need to do is write down 10 years above the previous year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After that, next thing you need to do is first write down the leap years. Okay. Generally, in a year we have 365 days. But then every fourth year is a leap year. The year in which we have 366 days is called as a leap year. And that one extra day is actually added to the month of February. So if you see the leap years is 11th, 12th, 2011 to 2012 we have a leap year. And 2015 to 2016 we have a leap year. So mark the leap years so that we don't get confused when we are doing the calculations. Then first thing, after the previous year's column, the next thing you need to write is the details of his stay in India. Okay, so let's start working this out. Now, Mr. Karthik is a citizen of London and comes to India on 23/2018. Now, first thing we need to remember when we are computing is the year, for the purpose of computation of income tax, the years start from 1st of April every year and ends on 31st March. Now 23/2018 means 20th of March 2018. Now since the years start from 1st of April and end on 31st of March, this 23/2018 comes under this year 2017 to 2018. So he's coming to India for the first time on 23/2018. So in the year 2017-18, he's coming to India on 20th of March 2018 and he's staying and again he's staying in India till 1/9/2018. Okay, so 1/9/2018 is the year in which which he is staying. So but if you see 2017 and 18, this year ends when? On 31st of March 2018. So we'll write this over there. Again he's continuing to stay in India, so till from 1st of April 2018 till he's staying in India till 1st of September 2018. So till 1st of September 2018. So this is the first, these are the details of stay in India. Now further continuing the problem, he left India and went to Malaysia on a business trip on 1st of September 2018. So the date of arrival in India was to be written on this side and the date of departure from India should be written on the right hand side. Okay, so arrivals should be written on the left hand side and the date of departure should be written on the right hand side. Then again he comes back to India on 26th of February 2019. So see when does this date appear in which year? 26th of February 2019. It comes over here because this year ends on 31st of March. So from 1st September, 1st April till 1st September, he's staying in over here in this year. Plus, he's also coming back again on 26th of February 2019. Then no further details are given in the problem. So we assume that he's staying in India till the end of the year. So when does this year end? On 31st of March 2019. So these are the details of his stay in India. Now moving on, nothing else is given in the problem. So since no other details are furnished, okay, and if you see clearly in the second line of the problem, it is clearly said that he comes to India for the first time on 23/2018, which means all these previous years he was not there in India. So since he is coming for the first time on 20th of March 2018, it is assumed that he was not there in India in all these previous years. So details of his stay in India for all these years will be nil. Okay. So all these years it is nil. Now let's compute the days for this period from 20th of March till 31st of March. Now both, when you're calculating the number of days, okay, to calculate the details of a stay in India, you should calculate the day of arrival as well as the day of departure, which means 20th of March should also be added and 30th of March should also be added to compute the number of days. So in this year he is staying from 20th of March till 31st of March, which means the number of days are 20th of March, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, which means he's staying in India for 12 days during the previous year 2017-2018. Now computing the number of days he's staying, okay, during 2018 and 19, he's staying in India from 1st of April till 1st of September. Then again for a brief period he is going to Malaysia and again coming back in the same year from 26th of February to 31st of March. So these two periods we need to calculate the number of days. So for the purpose of calculating the number of days, let's write down. So the first period is from 1st of April till 1st of September. So in April we have 30 days, then in May 31, June 30, July 31 days, August 31 days, and 1st in September it is 1 day. So if you add these, the total number of days is 154 days for the first period. The second period, 26th of February till 31st of March. So in February, the number of days he is staying is 26th, 27th and 28th. This is not a leap year, so the number of days in February will remain 28 days. So he is staying in India in February for 3 days, then in March for 31 days. So the total number of days is 34 days. And if we add these two, that is 154 days and 34 days, the total number of days in this year, that is in the year 2018-19, will be 188 days. So the number of days here is 188 days. Clear? Now let's determine the residential status. Okay. Now for a person to be called as a resident, there are two conditions I said you, right? The first condition is he should stay in India for 182 days. Otherwise, the second condition is he should stay in India for 60 days during the previous year and 365 days or more during 4 years preceding the previous year. Okay. So here he is not staying in India either for 182 days or 60 days. So he is a non-resident. The same thing, since all these years it is nil. So therefore he is a non-resident for all these years, because he is neither staying for 182 days nor he is staying for 60 days. So all these years will remain, he will remain as a non-resident. Now this year again he is staying only for 12 days. Okay. For a person to be called as a resident, either he should stay for 182 days or 60 days. So this here also the condition is not fulfilled, so he is a non-resident. Whereas here, that is the year 2018-19, he is staying for 188 days. So he is fulfilling the first basic condition, which is stay in India for 182 days or more during the previous year. Therefore, he is a resident in 2018 and 19. Okay. Now moving on to the next column, which is computing the total stay in 4 years preceding the previous year. Preceding the previous year means leave the year 2018-19, which is your previous year. 4 years above that, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means from 2014-15 till 2017-18, the total number of days he has stayed is, see, he is nil for all these 3 years. Only in 2017-18 it is 12 days. So write over here as 12 days. Then the last column, total stay in 7 years preceding the previous year. So this is our previous year, 2018-19. So leave this year, 7 years above this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the number of days during these years he is staying is again only 12 days. So write 12 days. So this is a basic calculation for computing the number of days he has stayed in India. Now let's use this calculations, apply this calculations to the conditions, okay? Now so this is the second part of solving a problem. Here we need to write the determination of residential status. The name of the assessee is Mr. Karthik, so write that. Our previous year is 2018-19 and our assessment year is 2019-20. Then after that make 2 columns. In the first column you will write all the conditions, and in the second column you will write whether the assessee has satisfied these conditions or not. Now the first basic condition is stay in India for 182 days or more in the previous year. Okay, so let's look into the previous year. 2018-19 is the previous year. He is staying for 188 days. So this condition is satisfied. So here we will write it as satisfied. The second condition is stay in India for 60 days or more in the previous year and 365 days or more in 4 years preceding the previous year. So if you see the previous year 2018-19, stay in India for 60 days. So he is staying for 188 days, which means the first part of the condition he is satisfying. But the second part, which is leave the previous year for 4 years above that, 1, 2, 3, 4. In these 4 years, that is 14-15 till 17-18, he should have stayed for 365 days, whereas here he is staying only for 12 days. So the second part of the basic condition is not satisfied. Therefore, the condition is not satisfied. Now, the next thing is additional conditions. Now, for additional conditions, the condition is resident in India for 2 years out of 10 years preceding the previous year. So, this is our previous year 2018-19. Okay, so leaving this year for 10 years above that, okay, he should be a resident at least for 2 years. But if you see, for all the 10 years he is a non-resident. So again, the first additional condition is again not satisfied. Now the second additional condition is stay in India for 730 days or more during 7 years preceding the previous year. So leave the previous year. Preceding the previous year means 7 years above that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from the year 2011-12 till 2017-18. Out of these 7 years, he should have stayed for 730 days, whereas the total number of days he is staying is only 12 days as per our calculations. So even the second additional condition is not satisfied. Now, if you look into the chart which I explained in the first part, okay, that is residential status. To determine the residential status of an individual, a person is called as a resident if he fulfills at least one basic condition. So if you see, out of these 2 basic conditions, the individual Mr. Karthik has fulfilled at least one. So he is a resident so far. Okay. Now again, resident is of 2 types: resident and ordinary resident, resident but not ordinary resident. Now for Mr. Karthik to be called as a resident and ordinary resident, he should fulfill both the additional conditions. See over here, but here Mr. Karthik has not satisfied even one of the additional conditions. So Mr. Karthik is a resident but not ordinary resident. So in the conclusion, you should write that Mr. Karthik is a resident but not ordinarily resident.